Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is the part 2 of our Azure ALM DevOps for Power Platform series. In our last video, we introduced ALM and Azure DevOps. Today, we will get hands-ons with creating a new project in Azure DevOps and setting up a repository to store your cloud platform solutions. We will also talk about a crucial aspect of managing your code, that's the branching strategy. So let's jump right into the video. For those who are new here, I am Dharanidharan Balasubramaniam. I am a solution architect. I love working with Power Platform and helping the businesses streamline their development process with the low code solution. In this series, I'm excited to share some tips and tricks that I have learned over the years to help you improve your LM strategy. If you like what you see, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out any of those videos. All right, let's get into the session. Let's take a quick look at what we will cover in today's video. First, we'll start with understanding the Azure DevOps, where I will introduce you to its key components and why it is an essential tool for managing the application lifecycle in Power Platform. Next, we will walk through creating a new project in Azure DevOps. This will be the central hub for managing your Power Platform solutions, including your source code and workflows. And after that, I will show you how to set up the repos in Azure DevOps. Repos provide the version control, which is crucial for tracking your changes and collaborating with others. Finally, we will dive into the branching strategy. I will explain the different types of branching and how to use them effectively to manage your code base and streamline your development. By end of this video, you will be equipped to set up and organize your projects in Azure DevOps like a pro. So let's dive in. So let's dive into a quick overview of Azure DevOps and its main components. If you are new to this, don't worry. I will break it down simply. First up, we have a boards. Think of boards as your digital to-do list or planner. It is a place to track the work items, create a task, and plan sprints. Whether you are managing a small task or a big project, board helps you organize everything in one spot and keep your team on the same page. Next, there is a repos. Repos is essentially your code storage space. Imagine it is a library for your Power Platform project files where you can safely keep your code and track changes over the time. It's super useful for version control and letting you see who made the changes and even roll back the previous version if something goes wrong. Then we have the pipelines. Pipelines are all about automation. They let you set up your workflows to build, test, and deploy your solution. For example, you can automate the process of exporting a Power Platform solution or deploying it to one another environment, which saves a tons of time and reduces the manual error. Next, test plans comes next. Testing is a crucial part of any development process, and test plans in Azure DevOps helps you manage test cases, run the tests, and track the bugs. It is a way to make sure everything works perfectly before it goes live. Finally, there are artifacts. Artifacts are where you store your packages, libraries, or dependencies. Let's say you have a specific tools or libraries that you use across multiple projects. Artifacts help you manage and share those in one centralized space. In short, Azure DevOps brings all these components together to help you plan, develop, test, and deploy your solution seamlessly It's your command center for managing the entire life cycle of your project. Now let's explore these components one by one, starting with repos. So you might be wondering, why should we use the Azure DevOps for managing the ALM, the Application Lifecycle Management in Power Platform? Let's break down some key reasons why this has been become a game changer. First, it's all about automation. With the Azure DevOps, you can automate the routine tasks like exporting, importing, and deploying the Power Platform solutions. Imagine not having to manually move your changes from development to production. DevOps handles that for you with a few clicks. This not only saves a lot of time, but also mainly it minimizes the error, keeping everything consistent across your environments. Next up is a centralized version control. Using the Azure repos, you can track every changes you made to your solution. It's like having a timeline of your project's progress where you can see what was changed when and by whom. If something goes wrong, you can easily roll back to a previous version. This level of control is invaluable, especially when multiple people are working on the same solution. Then there is a collaboration. Azure DevOps provides tools like boards, pipelines, allowing the team member to work together seamlessly. Developers can track their task and they can review each other's code, and then they can deploy the changes in an organized manner. It's all integrated in one platform, so no more juggling between the different tools. Lastly, it's a scalable. Whether you are working on a small project by yourself or managing a complex solution with a larger team, Azure DevOps can scale to meet your needs. You can set up different environments for development, testing, and production, and easily move your solutions between them. In short, if you are using an Azure DevOps for Power Platform, ALM streamlines your workflow, keeps your team in sync, and ensures that your solutions are deployed consistently and efficiently. Now that we have covered why it is so useful, let's dive into setting up your first project in Azure DevOps. All right, let's start creating a new project in Azure DevOps. This will be the centralized hub for managing our Power Platform solutions. I will walk you through the entire process step by step. So let's dive in. First and foremost thing, we need to log in into Azure DevOps. Open your browser and go to dev.azure.com. You will need to sign in with the Microsoft account. If you don't have an account yet, no worries, you can quickly create one. So once the login is done, now the next step is you need to create the project now. So before creating a project, you need to choose your organization. Once you are logged in, you will see your organization listed. If you are part of a multiple organization, select the one where you want to create this project. Now the next step is we need to create a project. Now on the home page of your selected organization, you will see a button labeled new project in the top right corner. Click on that. A small form pops up where we will fill in some of your details for your project. First is the name. Let's give a clear and a descriptive name. This makes it easier to identify later, especially when working with the multiple projects. Then description is optional and you can provide a brief description of the project. And next is the visibility. You can choose private if you want to restrict access to people within your organization. Choose public if you want to access it visible to anyone. For most cases, private is the way to go, especially if you are dealing with the sensitive data. And configure the version control and work item process. Now let's move to the configuration options. The version control, make sure to select a Git. Git is a widely used version control. The system allows you to track changes and collaborate with others seamlessly. And here you can choose your process that suits your team's workflow. The options are Agile, Scrum, and CMMI. If you are not sure which one to pick, Agile is a good starting point since it's a flexible and simple to use. And then once you have filled in all the details, now go ahead and click the create button. Azure DevOps will take a moment to set up your new project. So, and that's it. Now your project is now created and you're brought to the project's main dashboard. And from here, you can start setting up your repositories, pipelines, boards, and more to manage your Power Platform solution. So, quick recap. So, to recap, like we have logged into the Azure DevOps, selected our organization, created a project with a descriptive name, and we have choose a Git for version control, and we picked our item process and hit create. Easy, right? Now that we have our project set up, it's time to add a repository to store our Power Platform solution files. Let's move on to that. All right, now that we have our project set up, now let's create a repository to store our solution files. It is quick and also it is easy. Just we need to follow the steps. Step one, we need to navigate to the repos on the left hand side menu of your Azure DevOps project. Click on the repos. Since we have not created a repo yet, it will prompt us to create one. We'll quickly create a repository by clicking on a create repository. Give it as a name that relates to your solution. And then we need to initialize the repository. Here you can add a README file and git ignore, and this readme file is a great for adding an overview of the project, while the git ignore helps exclude unnecessary files for now. Now let's select both. Once it is done, now just hit the create button and you are done. Azure DevOps will create the repository and you will be start adding your solution files. And that's it. Now your repository is now live and ready for you to use. Now let's set up the folder structure. Click on the repos to access the repository. You will see the file section. Here, click on add and select add file folder. Create a folder named solutions. Inside the solutions folder, create a three subfolders: managed, unmanaged, and unpacked. So managed will store your exported managed solutions here. Unmanaged will store your exported unmanaged solutions. So, and last is the unpacked. This is the place where you can store your unpacked solutions for version control. And once all the folders are created, now commit the folder structure. After setting up these folders, commit your changes to the main branch by adding an commit message like initial folder structure for Power Platform solutions. So once all those things are done, then just click on the commit button. This will commit your folders into the Azure DevOps repos. And that's it. Now you have set up a repository with the folder structure and it is ready to manage your Power Platform solutions efficiently. In the next steps, you can start adding your solution files into this folders. Now that we have set up our repository, let's talk about the branching strategy. So branching strategy is a key part of our managing your code efficiently, especially when multiple people are working on the same project. What is branching strategy? Think of branches like separate workspaces in your repository. When you create a branch, it's like making the copy of the code where you can work on new features, fix bugs, or make changes without affecting the main code base. Once your changes are ready, then you merge them back into the main branch. Now, let's have a little knowledge about the main branch. Main branch is a primary branch where the stable production ready code lives. You only merge here when you are confident that everything is working perfectly. And next is the sprint branch or the release branch. This is where the active work happens. You might also hear this called as a dev branch. It's the place to test new changes before they go to the main branch. And next is the feature branch. These are the temporary branches you create to work on a specific feature or a bug fix. For example, you might create a branch named US user story 2304 if you're adding an login page. Once your work is done, you merge this into an testing branch, the release branch for testing. Once the testing is done, then we will merge this back to the master branch, the main branch. All right, now let's start with the main branch. When you create a new repository in the Azure DevOps, the main branch is automatically created for you. Think of this is the master copy of your code. It's where your most stable, production ready version of your solution lives. You want to keep them to the main branch clean and free of bugs because it's the version of your code that you will eventually deploy to your production environment. So we only merge changes into the main branch when they have been fully tested and approved. It acts as a safe zone for your code. Next, we will create a sprint branch. Now let's talk about creating a branch for your specific sprint. For example, if you are working in a sprint 1, we create a sprint 1 branch to hold all the changes planned for the sprint. This helps us to keep track of what being worked on during that specific period. And how to create the sprint branch, go to the repos section in your project and select the branches, click on the new branch. In the pop-up, name your branch. For example, we will call it as a sprint 1. Select the main as a base branch. This means your new sprint branch will start a copy of the main branch. Then click create. Now we have one branch that acts as a workspace for all the features and the changes will be implementing during the sprint 1. And next we do have the feature branch user story 2304. Within our sprint, we may have multiple tasks or user stories to work on. Let's say one of the user stories in the sprint is user story 2304. To work on this user story without affecting the other work, we create a separate branch for it and we need to follow the same process. So to create this feature branch. So once your work is completed, you will merge this into an sprint 1 branch. This way, we keep all the changes organized and isolated until they are ready for the sprint. Quick recap, we will see. First is the main branch, the stable production ready branch created by default. Next is the sprint branch, temporary branch for all the work planned during that specific PS sprint, helping to organize changes in a given time frame. And last but not least, the feature branch, the user story 2304, a branch dedicated to working on a specific feature or a task. It is created from the sprint branch to keep work isolated and easy to manage. This structure keeps everything neat, organized, and easy to track, ensuring the smooth development and the deployment. All right, that brings us to end of today's video. Before you go, let's stay connected. If you have any questions, suggestions, or just want to continue the conversation, you always feel free to reach out. You can email me directly or connect with me on LinkedIn. And you can also check out my YouTube channel for more content and follow me on Twitter for quick updates. Don't forget to visit my website here where I'll be posting an additional resource and blog post related to the today's topic. And all the links and QR codes are here on the screen. Just scan and you will find me in all the social media handles. Thank you so much once again for watching. If you have any questions or suggestions, drop them in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts and help out with anything you're struggling with. Don't forget to follow me for more content on ALM, Power Platform, and all the things low code. Until next time, keep building. Cheers. Bye bye.